I grew up in Fredericton, and life was honestly not that exciting. I just had a normal childhood. I didn't do much. I mean, I just played video games, went to school, and somehow found boxing. You know, I actually didn't hear about boxing in the first place. I remember it was like somewhere between 2006 to 2009. I was so young, and I was at a family friend's house, and I was alone because there was like an Xbox in the TV room, and the adults were all doing their own thing, and I was playing on this freaking older kid's Xbox, and there was like a TV there as well, and for some reason there was like this cage UFC fight happening, and I've never seen anything like this in my life. So you can kind of think about me in my shoes as a young kid seeing this barbaric sport playing in the background. There was blood everywhere. There's just two guys like beating each other up in a cage, and I was just like, wow, what is this? And that was really the first moment where I laid eyes on some sort of like violent hitting sport. But when it comes to boxing, it was years down the line where I was in middle school and I just had a friend. His name was Aiden. We don't talk anymore, but you know, I love that guy. He was a good guy. Shout out to Aiden. But basically he was doing boxing at the time, and it was just like, he wasn't doing competitive or anything like that, but he just did like boxing as a workout, and he introduced me to it. He introduced me to this like Japanese cartoon called Hajime no Ippo, and it's like this boxing anime, and that's kind of how I got into boxing in itself. I just did like the little recreation classes. So this character, Aiden, introduced me to boxing, and that's where I did the casual stuff, the workout stuff when I was in middle school. But when I reached to high school, I had a friend named John, and John was an amateur boxer at the time. And at the time, he had like 4 amateur fights. He was 3-1. He was a good boxer. He was a good fighter too, and he like, I'm not gonna lie, I was always kind of scared of him. I was always like, this guy could, you know, beat me up. But one day, we were talking about boxing because we had like some classes in high school together, and I was like, hey, I really want to try to do boxing competitively. How do I do it? And he tells me, he said, go to the gym at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and tell Dave that you want to be a world champion. So me as like a 15, I was 15 or 6, yeah, I was 15 at the time. Me as a 15-year-old, after the day of school, I was in high school, like grade 10, I think, grade 10 or 11 at the time. I think I was in grade 11. Grade 11, high school. I finished school, I take the bus home, and then I go all the way to this gym on the north side. And I open the door, I go up the stairs, there's just one car there. And I walk up the stairs, and I see this like big, burly British guy with mutton chops. And he's just standing there, and you know, he didn't expect me at all. I just went in, and he asked me what I was doing. And I said, well, I want to box competitively. I want to compete in boxing. And he goes, why do you want to compete in boxing? So me thinking back to what my friend John said, I was like, oh, I just want to be a world champion. He points over to the boxing ring and he goes, you know, people die in there. And I'm like, oh, like I didn't know what to say. I was just shocked. I was so scared. I was terrified. Just this 15-year-old kid. I'm like looking up here at this British guy like that. He's like 6'2". I'm super short, and I don't even remember what I said. I really don't. And then he kicked me out. he kicked me out, and he was like, just leave. I'm like, okay. So the next day, I told my friend John, I was like, what happened? I told him what happened, and I asked him like, what do I do? And he goes, just go back there and tell him you want to be a world champion again. So I did, and then he was like, okay, well, let's see what you got. And that's where the whole training regime happened, and it was not what I expected in the first 6 months.
Those feet up. Okay. Because then if you get someone that's half tidy and sees that, they're going to go for it.
Okay.
Alright?
I will try to correct myself.
Try and keep your feet the same
Why boxing? Why not another sport or path?
I don't want to kick a ball. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to do a team sport. I just didn't like sports. I don't really enjoy sports. The only sport I really ever watch or like am like entertained in is boxing, ping pong. Like ping pong is kind of cool, but I just don't like sports. If I'm being honest, I'm a nerd. Like I like playing video games. I like creating things. I like building computers and things that maybe you wouldn't necessarily relate to with a boxer. But I just like boxing. It's not because of like any freaking, you know, badass motivational TikTok, Instagram story that you would hear. I just like boxing because it's a challenge.
So it wasn't as if you were running from something. You just get pulled into it because you wanted it.
No, I don't think I'm running from anything at all. I just feel like in my heart that it's something that I have an inherent talent for. And I like outsmarting someone and like having the crowd go crazy and winning and like beating someone up and being put into a place of adversity. Like when things get tough, like what am I gonna do in terms of this contest? Like there's so many things about boxing that I like and it kind of pulls me in. But I think to like answer that question of like why do I even box in the first place is just because like I have like a skill for it, and if I don't use this skill until I'm satisfied, then I'm just gonna live life with regrets. So the reason why I box is because I feel like I was kind of built for it until I'm not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So would you say boxing gave you all the aptitude, all the skills, and all the confidence you have today? Or you already have those and just boxing just came and made it better?
I did not have confidence really. I'm like a really shy person when it comes down to it. And even before boxing, like before I ever had a fight, before I ever did sparring, and sparring is like it's like a practice fight. It's like a fight, but it's not a contest. You know what I mean? Before I did any of that, like I was super unconfident. I was like very passive, but at the same time, like I was like very innocent before boxing, if that makes sense. Like I was just kind of like a funny, maybe I'm not funny, I don't know, but I was just I think I'm funny, I guess, but like I'm just like a very unconfident person growing up. I started boxing early, not early in terms of boxing, but like in terms of life, I was sparring and training when I was 15, 16, so yeah, like I was not confident at that time, but as soon as I started competing, especially in the amateur level, you know, I win my first amateur fight and I beat this guy with 2 fights. You know, he was 1 win, 1 loss, and here I am with no fights. I go and beat this guy. I'm like, oh my God, like I just beat someone up. You know what I mean? Like I just freaking did that. And that's where the confidence started like slowly coming in with each fight. I just got a little bit more confident, and you know, like, yeah, I guess a lot of it came down to boxing, really. I mean, I learned a lot about myself just from, you know, getting put in hard positions, really.
Like it?
What weight are these?
What weight? Oh, I don't know. I just got it on Amazon. What does it say? I think. That's it?
Does it say 16 ounce?
It feels like 16, no? It says 14. Is that bad?
Big boy like you hitting these guys with 40 ounce plus on? Not good.
It is that bad?
What have you had to give up for this sport?
You know, actually, like, when I really think about it, I didn't have to give up much, because growing up, like, I was a social kid. You could say I was a social kid. There was definitely like parts of my early teenage years and early adult years where I wasn't as social, or like I wasn't really like I wasn't really that social. But if I'm being completely honest with you, like I didn't give up much for boxing. Like I still hung out with my friends. I still went to like functions and like little get-togethers. Obviously, like I'm not drinking alcohol or smoking weed or like any of that when I was competing, and people might see that as a sacrifice, but me personally, I don't like drinking. I don't like smoking. I don't like doing drugs. So realistically, like I didn't give up anything. I just did what I have to do. and I love training, so I didn't give up really much at all. When it came to me turning professional, the big thing, the only thing I can really think of as like a sacrifice is the food. I'm gonna be honest with you, food. Because in the pros, you know, you have to cut weight. You know, I can't just fight up my walk around weight because I'm fighting dudes that are like 6'6" Olympians, you know what I mean? Like, so you gotta cut down weight, you gotta stop eating the hamburgers, you gotta stop doing this, that, you gotta eat the rice and chicken, etc. And you know, sometimes you get hungry, you know, sometimes it gets a little tough, but that's really the only sacrifice. That and just staying focused, you know, like not doing anything, any tomfoolery, but that's just me as a person. So really, the only sacrifice, to make a long story short, is eating. I'm not gonna lie, I like my food.
How does your body feel before and after a fight?
Oh man, you know, like that's actually a good question, because before the fight, you're like nervous, of course. So like your freaking legs are gone, but like you're hungry too because you're cutting weight. But after the fight, I might be a little weird, but I kind of like feeling my body after the fight. This sounds a little weird, but like, let me explain. Like, when you're done your fight, especially like as a pro that I've found in my short experience as a professional, I've only had 2 fights, is after the fight, like you feel like your face is like sore, you got like a black eye, you're beat up, you got like bruises and like on your stomach, I don't know, you got bruises everywhere. You're like, you know, like you're doing like a snot rocket and all it's just blood coming out in the sink. Like, it's crazy. It's kind of scary, and it's like, you know, the human body shouldn't be doing this. But at the same time, it's almost kind of like interesting. Like when I'm done a fight, I'm proud of myself, because it's like, wow, I just got into the arena and I fought another man, and everyone was watching, and like for those, you know, 12 minutes of my life and like other people's lives, like they were watching me, and I'm like in a gladiator sport, and I'm like this badass manly guy that, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm just being honest, like maybe that doesn't seem like what it is to people outside looking in, but for me, it's like when I've like sore in my face and stuff, I got a black eye and stuff like that, it's like I'm like proud of myself. So I know I feel good after a fight, honestly.
So really, if you use these lines correctly, right, so if your foot's there, you can still reach your opponent there. So really, you can take control of the center, which is what you're going to work, which is what you want to work on tonight, right? It's positioning, know where you are in the ring, the position you're in the ring, right, and where you're moving. So it's only small step in because like I said before, right, here is the corner of a ring, right? So if you get in the center here, it's just small steps, yeah?
This is a mental and emotional struggle related question. Do you ever feel fear before a fight?
Yeah. Yeah, like you're scared. You don't want to do it. Like, you want to quit. You want to get out. You want to jump out the ring. Like, you do not want to get out there. I don't care who you are. But like for me personally, the fear is there until you step in the ring, and as soon as you take the first punch or you like throw the first punch, that's when it kind of gets like, it's like, okay, like you're boxing, like that's it. Like it's just a normal day. Like it's the same thing as training in the gym. You know, it's just, you're doing the same thing. You're not fighting the crowd. You're not fighting some guy with a baseball bat. You're just boxing, you know? So it's just really like train hard, you know, prepare. That's it.
What goes through your mind during a round? So I mean, like, it's a super long round and you're like already having a lot of doubt and you're already tired. Like what goes through your mind?
You know, like in the amateurs, I was like so nervous, and I was like I was so tight, and I'm like, I'm like thinking like this guy's gonna, oh my god, this thing. But like, you know, as like I went along in my amateur career, I had 14 amateur fights. In like the tail end of my amateur career, I'm like not really thinking of much. I'm just kind of thinking like, oh, you know, like this guy has his hand down, like let me hit him here. Oh, this guy hit me here, let me defend this. Like, oh, look what he's doing right there. Like I can use that. And I'm not really thinking of anything. It's not like emotional to me. It's just business, really. It's just like, how can I? It's like if you play like a freaking fighting video game and you're fighting the robot, you're just thinking like, oh, how can I beat this robot? You know, I'm not thinking this guy's like a human or anything. I'm just thinking like, okay, well, I want to beat you. I want to win this fight. And I want to get out of the ring and like go eat some food or something, you know what I mean? Like go hang out with my friends afterwards. So I'm just thinking like, what's the easiest way to get you out of there? Or what's the easiest way to win without taking damage? So that's it really. I'm not thinking of much.
What happens when you can't fight anymore?
You get knocked out. You get knocked out, or you just kind of have to deal with it. Because sometimes you get tired. And when you get tired, you just got to survive. You got to survive. And that either means winning the fight or losing the fight. I've done both. I've won fights, I've lost fights, but the fights that you lose are the ones where it's like, oh man, I can't do this anymore. And like you have to find a way to like not get knocked out. And like you got to try your best, even if you think you're losing, you got to try to win.
What do you want to be remembered for?
It's not necessarily like what I want to be remembered for. It's kind of more like, am I like satisfied with what I did? You know what I mean? Whether that be like win a title or do something outside of boxing or whatever the case may be. Like I'm not really trying to be remembered for anything. I'm just trying to be the best I can to my abilities, in a sense of like, was I satisfied with what I did in life? Because like, I don't know if anyone that's listening to this agrees, but a lot of the time, and if I'm going to say this in the nicest way possible, but a lot of the time I'll go to like the grocery store, or I'll go to the freaking mall or something, or I'll just go outside, and I see a lot of like really sad people. And I'm saying this in a nice, like in not a way to be demeaning to other people or to be like whatever, but I see a lot of people, and like my assumption is that these people are like bitter with their lives. Like maybe they could have been a good freaking artist or something, or maybe they could have been like the best tennis player there was, but they ended up settling down with some job that pays the bills, and they never like did the thing that they wanted to personally do. And I see that so much, and like for me it's almost like motivation, where it's like, yeah, let me do boxing, let me do entrepreneurship, let me do everything, just so when it's all done, I can like feel good in my heart for what I did, and maybe even just like teach the next generation of like what I've learned in my life, mistakes and successes, really. So like that's kind of how I think of that question.
What's the most painful loss and why?
I think like, and I'm not like pained about it now, but at the time, it was like the end of the world to me. You know what I mean? Like at the time, my whole world was like spinning out of control. But basically, as an amateur, I think I was 7-0. So I won my first 7 fights as an amateur. I had like so much confidence, and like I was like, yeah, I'm gonna steamroll this guy. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna beat this guy up. Yeah, like whatever. And I was 7-0, and I went to this tournament called the Brampton Cup, and I had won the Brampton Cup the earlier year in 2022, and then I went to the Brampton Cup again in 2023, and the first guy I fought in the tournament, it was the semifinals, and I stop him. Like I finished the fight. I stop him in the 3rd round. I'm like, all right, easy. I'm gonna get the gold medal again. I'm gonna be a 2-time champion. I go into the next fight, and it was like Saturday. I don't really remember. It was like in the afternoon or something. But I'm 7-0. And I fight this guy named Gurveer Maan. And this guy is like 6'3", southpaw. And I'm like, I'm not even worried about it. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna beat this guy up. Like it's nothing. And this guy beats me. He just beat me. And like when I didn't get my hand raised and he got his hand raised and he won the gold medal, and he's like freaking out, all his friends are like jumping in the air, like, you know what I mean? All that. And I'm just thinking like, wow. I just lost. And I remember I got out the ring. This is in Brampton, Ontario. And I got out the ring, I go to like the main entrance, and I just start crying. And I'm just like crying, man. I called my coach, I called my dad, and that like hurt me so bad. Like that hurt me so bad at the time. And like thinking back to it, I'm just like it was just a fight. Like you just lost, like that's all right. But at the time it hurt me real bad. But you know, that's really it. But I don't really think about it anymore.
If you could talk to your younger self, what would you say?
I wouldn't really tell him anything. I'd tell him to buy Bitcoin. I'd tell him to go buy some Bitcoin back in 2020 when it was $5,000. I'd be balling. I'd be balling out of control. You wouldn't see me in jeans. You'd see me in some tiger print pants right now.
Well, thank you for this interview.
Anytime. I had a blast. I love this. Don't buy Bitcoin now. It's too expensive. Go get you a scratch ticket instead. I don't know. You have a better chance with that, but yeah, that's it.
I guess it's a wrap.
Bro, that was good, bro. That was good. That was good. That was freaking
good. We killed it.
That was awesome.
Yeah, bro.